Hello, my YouTube and Facebook family. Thank you for tuning in to watch Rena Mae's Kitchen. Today we're going to cover Romans 8 and 31. If God is for us, then who is against us? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if no one told you they love you today, just remember God loves you each and every day. Amen. Hello YouTube family and friends. So today we're doing ribeye steaks and chuck eye steaks that we're going to have. So it's 2, 4, 6, and 8 steaks all together. So I'm going to show you guys how to actually clean your meat so you can make sure that all the film and stuff is coming off, okay? Okay you guys, so I take warm water and I actually clean the meat on both sides. I put it in my little bucket here. We're just going to keep cleaning the meat. Make sure that you're using warm water, not hot, because hot cooking it and cold is really not killing anything. So you're just going to do warm. And we're just cleaning it on both sides. I know a lot of people, I've seen people who actually just take meat out the packet and just start cooking it like that. It's just not sanitary at all. Especially with all these super bugs and stuff that's going along with this meat. You have to be careful of what you're doing. Especially dealing with meat and stuff. Because you don't want to get E. coli or any of those diseases for not properly cleaning your meat. So, I've cleaned both sides. Now, after I clean my meat, I let it sit in vinegar. Now you're going to see what the vinegar actually does to the meat. And then you're just going to pour a little bit of water over on it. And you're just going to have the water go over it until it's nice, until it's completely over the meat. Now, just being in there just a quick second, you can see some of the film and stuff trying to come up. So you can see the film and stuff coming up. Now I'm going to let this sit for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, we'll be back, you guys. Okay, you guys. So this what I do. I take a hot soapy water with bleach and I actually clean my sink out. That's how you be nice and sanitary. You're not sitting up here about to use a dirty sink. So I do this all the time after I use meat products or anything like that. I take bleach and hot water and dishwasher liquid and I clean my sink. So I'm just spraying it down. Now my sink can be nice and clean for when I get ready to drain off the vinegar water from the steaks. See you guys in a second. To go ahead and be cleaned with the vinegar water. I'm actually going to start cutting up the vegetables that we need. Now I clean my vegetables as well. Next time I use the vegetables, I will be showing you guys how to pre-clean your vegetables before you use them. So we're just going to cut these bell peppers up. I am using the green and I'm going to use the orange today as well. Just to give the ribeye and the chuck eye steaks some good actual flavor while it's set overnight. Now a lot of people actually like, you know, cut with the seeds and stuff on there. I pretty much don't care for the seeds, so I actually cut the seeds and stuff out as well. So today's topic is going to be, how do you find your purpose in life? So the other day I was driving and I was asking God while I was driving, like, you know, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What did you put me here for? What is my journey in life? What should I explore in life to get me to the next level of where I should be, hashtag where I want to be in life before I'm 40 years old. And it took me a long time, prayer, many years of actually learning to know when God is speaking to you and when the devil is trying to intervene. So I was asking him, I said, you know, God, just give me the sign. Let me know. Let me hear your voice of what my purpose should be. And I came across my purpose is to teach. I love teaching people, whether it's a person I know, my kids, whoever, whatever I learn is I've always been that type of person. Each one teach one, you know. So I never like having people in the dark about things once I learned something. So I said, you know what? I said, that's what it is. My purpose is to teach. And I said, you know what? Okay, Shireen, we're actually going to use that and where God wants you to be. We're going to use that to your advantage. So I said, you know what? I've been contemplating on this YouTube channel for the past 2 years. At first, I was going to do a daily vlog. Then I was going to do a beauty channel. And I was like, you know what? God said, stick with your strongest suit. I had to really come down and say, okay, what is my strongest suit? Little did I know, my strongest suit is teaching and cooking. So I said, okay, I learned from the best, which is Hattie Reed. Everything she cooked was pretty much scratch, nothing out the box. So I said, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do me a cooking channel. So with that being said, if you ask God, he will show you. You just got to be prepared and willing to listen and know the difference between the devil's voice and his voice. You know, I consider myself lucky and blessed to actually still be here surviving, still be here, still, you know, having air in my body, still being able to teach and to tell my story and my testimony. You know, I've had some pretty rough relationships in my life with men. I always said I can't pick a good man to save my life. So, you know, the past 3 years I have been single. It's been the happiest 3 years of my life. And the reason why I say that is because I learned myself. I learned what makes Shireen happy. I focused on my 3 boys. I focused on my finances, focused on my relationship with God, and I'm perfectly happy. Now, I'm not saying that, oh, I don't want a man. I'm not saying that I'm a lesbian or anything like that. What I'm saying is, when God send me that person, I'll know that's the person for me. Until then, I'm going to keep concentrating on myself and my kids, making us better. And, you know, a lot of people look at me crazy when I say that. You know, some people can't be by themselves. Some people have to have a man. Some people have to be in a relationship. I'm not one of them. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, one of the biggest people that have always been in my life that has been like a strong person to me, and that's the reason why I have the Nefertiti tatted on me, is my Aunt Rose. My Aunt Rose has always been strong. She's always showed me that you don't need a man for nothing. Before she passed, she always told me, she said, Shireen, make sure you always keep a job so you won't have to depend on no man for nothing. And that's what I do. I thank God that he gave me the strength, the knowledge, and courage to raise my children by myself. I thank God that I don't have a co-signer. I ain't got them baby daddy, baby mama drama issues. I ain't got to have nobody say, oh, well, you can't take my kids here. You can't take my kids there. No, I'm by myself. I make all the decisions by myself. Sometimes I sit there and say, you know, the load is too heavy. But I said, you know what? God ain't going to give me nothing that I can't bear. So at the end of the day, I pay the cost to be the boss. And, you know, my brothers always say, oh, well, you know, Shireen, you too strong. You know, a man gets intimidated by you. If you intimidated by me, then that means you ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a man that's going to be intimidated. I want a man that's actually going to worship and say, oh my gosh, she is strong. You know, she can get through it. She can handle it. Because whatever we go through in our relationship, finances, spiritual, emotionally, she going to make it through. She gonna see it through. So that's my situation in life. So I said I was bringing 2024 and 2023 And with new life beginnings, no regrets, no looking back, no shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And that's where I'm at. All right, you guys, so we got all these veggies chopped up. I'm actually going to finish this out on a different note. I will be back, you guys, when we get to the meat. Stop. So we actually got all the vegetables chopped up. So I'm actually just going to put it in this container until I get my meat seasoned. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you guys about today too as well is being secure. That can be financially, in life, spiritually, emotionally, knowing when you are secure and knowing when you had enough. So you can see all this stuff that's floating up to the top. This is all the bacteria and stuff that was probably in the meat and that we're actually getting out the meat. So what I'm going to do is just pour it out. After you pour it out, get rid of that water. I still use nice warm water over it, and I'm still going to go ahead and just clean it once again really quick. Now, still cleaning it, you still can see some types of film still in there. So we're just gonna tip it, and we're gonna keep rinsing. And we're gonna keep rinsing until the water is pretty much clear and there's nothing floating in the water. Your meat is fully clean. Okay, now you see how we just got that clear water look to it, nothing's floating. That means that the meat is totally clean. All right, you guys, so we have these 4 chuck roast steaks. So what I did, I'm gonna use honey. So I put the honey in hot water, very hot water, so it can be nice and loose. And we're just gonna pour the honey on both sides. Now the trick to this honey is we're gonna rub it in. The honey actually tenderizes the meat and it holds the moisture in it overnight. So these are one of my mom's recipes that I am doing. And I wish you guys are here so you can actually taste the outcome of this. But tomorrow is Sunday. So I actually fix people plates on Sunday. One of them is JoJo Jackson. Shout outs. If you don't know him on Facebook, look him up. He's one of the realest people in Rochester. And my cousin as well. So we got both sides marinated. After we marinate both sides, I'm just gonna wash my hands really quick. Alrighty. So we got both sides marinated. We're gonna use the adobo. Just a little bit of it, because you don't need too much. You don't want it to be too salty because I'm actually putting other seasonings on top. Now, it may look like it's a lot right here, but it's actually not. And I'm going to use my Goya Complete seasoning. Now, the Complete has so many different seasonings in there until it pretty much covers everything. My secret family recipe seasoning. This also maintains the moisture in the food as well. And we're going to put a little bit of garlic powder. Now, I haven't opened this yet, so I'm about to just open it really quick. And with the garlic powder, we're just going to go really, really light. You don't need nothing too heavy with the garlic powder. Now, after we do that, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to rub it in. Make sure it actually gets in the grooves and crevices of the meat. Alrighty. So we're rubbing it in. Then after that, we're going to repeat what we just did on the other side. And we're gonna do the seasoning. Like I said, don't be too heavy-handed because you don't want it to be too salty. And we're gonna use the complete again. And then we're gonna use the secret seasoning. Maybe one of these days when I get this secret seasoning patent, I might let you guys know what's in it and sell it. Until then, it's gonna be a secret. All right, so we got both sides done just that quick. We're just gonna rub it in. And then we're actually gonna put it in a bowl, a plastic bowl that I like to use to help marinate my meat and stuff in. And we're just gonna put it inside this bowl right here. Now the juices from the honey and seasoning, we're just gonna actually just wash it over in there. And then we're done with this, so we're just gonna put it in the sink. We're gonna put just a little bit more honey on here. And we're gonna add the vegetables. So with the vegetables being added, sorry, pay attention. With the vegetables and stuff being added, just gonna squish it around in here. I like some vegetables on top and on the bottom. I like to have it evened out. All right, you guys, this is how it's looking. And we're just gonna have it set overnight, put some film over it, and we'll be good. And I will see you guys tomorrow for part 2. So today we're back with another secret season that I use. And we're gonna actually use this as a broth. So to pour over this, so we're gonna use a bottle of water. I don't like using tap water to cook with, because our tap water these days aren't clean and you can't trust it. So we're just gonna take the whole bottle, and I took 2 teaspoons, and I'm gonna pour another teaspoon on here, and that will be 3 teaspoons that we're putting in here. And this is a secret seasoning from my dad's side of the family. From South Carolina, baby. Myrtle Beach. King Street. So we're just gonna mix it, and it's nice and clear. And we're just gonna pour over the meat so it can have that juice. So when we cook it tomorrow, everything will be nice and soaked in. All right. And that wraps it up today. Just look at that. It's already looking scrumptious while it's soaking overnight. All right, good afternoon, Facebook family and YouTube friends. So today we're actually gonna have part 2 of the video, but I just wanted to show you how to clean under your false nails so you won't be getting food and other bacteria in the food. Now, I'm a very sanitary person, so I have soap water and I have bleach inside. Now we're just gonna scrub the base of the nails. Come in, Daddy. Just gonna scrub the base of the nails and make sure that there's nothing under there. And we're gonna scrub for 60 seconds. And I like to scrub the top of my hand as well, and the back. Now we're just gonna reverse it. And we're gonna do this side underneath your nails. And like I said, we're gonna continue this pattern for 30 seconds. After you have done that and you actually scrub both sides, we're gonna clean the sink. And we're gonna take that bleach water and we're just gonna clean your sink before you start cooking to make sure that your sink is nice and clean. We're gonna take the remainder and we're just gonna swash around the top and make sure the top of your base of your sink is nice and clean before you start cooking. All right, you guys, give me a couple seconds and we're going to get set up for today's cooking video. Thank you for watching and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, we're back. After I wash my hands, I'm going to take out the meat that we actually seasoned yesterday night. That is sit over in a refrigerator overnight. And just look how it looks. That honey and my secret broth is already set to go, okay? So we're just gonna take the pieces out and we're just gonna set them in the pan. I set my oven to 400 because I'm gonna have some cornbread inside. So we want this to go pretty nice and smooth. Now, I didn't have a large pan, so I actually is just gonna put it over in here, which is, it really doesn't make a difference if it's a big pan or not. And then we're just gonna take the remainder of the juice and pour it over. So it may seem like it's a lot, but it's actually not a lot. Now, after we do that, we're actually gonna cover it up with aluminum foil. And I just have to wash my hands really quick. You have to do that. Alrighty. So now we are back. We're gonna put some aluminum foil over this. Make sure it's covered. Now, what I like to do, just to make sure that it's kind of steaming, I'm gonna just put a second layer, just a second tiny layer over the top, like this. Now with this second layer, I'm gonna create slashes. So it's actually getting some of the steam out, and the boilingness of it will actually not overflow in the stove. All right, and I'm gonna put this in the oven and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're back today. I'm actually gonna cook this cornbread in this Texas style honey sweet cornbread. I got this from the dollar store. There's nothing wrong with it. I use this brand all the time. So we're gonna actually put 2 eggs in here. Let me crack open the eggs. And we're gonna put, this is golden brown sugar that I also got from the dollar store. I'm just gonna pour some over on there. We're gonna do vanilla flavoring. I've been doing this for so long I can eyeball it, but you're gonna put a half a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring in here. That's a half a teaspoon. Then when we finish with that, we're gonna put some honey over and in there. And everybody's gonna be like, what is up with this girl and honey? Honey is a very versatile ingredient. Now, my mama always used to say we're gonna do the cinnamon cornbread. So we're gonna do that today. So we're gonna take some coconut milk that I also got from the dollar store. We're gonna pour it over in there. And then we're gonna take some cinnamon and cinnamon sugar, and we're just gonna sprinkle just a little bit in there. You don't need a lot, basically a teaspoon. You're gonna take some vanilla, a vitamin D milk. You're gonna pour that over in there. And then we're gonna get the mixer and we're gonna mix it up. And hope all of you do not put it on high if you're not experienced, because it will splatter all over the place. Now we got it mixing. While I'm mixing it, I'm still gonna add the coconut milk. So go ahead and loosen it up. We're gonna use the whole can. And you're just gonna keep mixing it until everything is mixed in. And what I like to do, I like to turn the bowl as I'm mixing, just to make sure that everything is getting in. We're gonna mix this really, really good. Now the last ingredient that we're actually going to use is going to be melted butter that I already have in the oven melting already. So that melting butter actually give it more of a rich flavor. And you can see that a lot of it is still needs to be melted. So I'm just going to put it back in the oven and let it finish melting. I just want to put a little bit on there just to get it started. And we're going to continue mixing. Alright. Now, while the butter is actually mixing, butter is actually melting in the oven, we're just going to go ahead and check on it just really quick. And we're just going to continue putting more in there. I don't want the butter to actually burn. It's going to give it a real nasty flavor if it burns. So we're just going to keep mixing it in. Alright. Now we're just going to continue putting a little bit of the cinnamon sugar over in it. Just a tad bit. Just so that flavor can go ahead and lock in. You can actually see the cinnamon actually going in the bowl. Okay. So while we waiting on that, we're actually just going to put this to the side. And I'm actually going to go ahead and this is warm water that I got for the lima beans, which is we're going to use the large lima beans, the great value one from Walmart. And we're actually going to have it soak in the warm water for 10 minutes. I'm going to use 2 bags. I've got a lot of people to feed today. Today is my Sunday where I actually cook for my loved ones and send out plates. So we're going to have this sitting for 10 minutes. Now let me check on the rest of this butter. Alrighty. Now I'm going to leave the rest of this butter in here in this pan just to give it. We're going to finish mixing this. Alright, you guys. So we are done with this. So we're just going to eject this. We're going to put this in the sink so it can get clean. And we're actually going to pour over into the pan so it can be evenly. Now I'm going to leave the rest of this in the bowl because this is going to be another secret of how I cook my beans. So we're just going to make sure that it's nice and even. So what I like to do is just play a little teeter-totter with it so it can go ahead and be even. So we're actually going to put this in the oven. We're going to put this in the oven for approximately 20 minutes. Okay, and we'll be right back on how to clean your hem hocks and smoked pigtails. Smoked pigtails in the house. Now I'm going to show you how to clean these. So basically I'll do it just like how I do my meat. I rub it off. Just going to rub it off and we're going to put it in there. Now this type of meat right here is something that you cannot absolutely play with if you do not clean it properly. You can make somebody sick. And then these are the smoked ham hocks that I'm actually going to clean. And I'm going to toss these over in the lima beans. Now I'm actually going to take some vinegar and I'm just going to pour it in there. Now we're going to have some water over it. Make sure that the water is actually covering the meat. And that's good right there. Now, a little bit more of that in there. Now, you can actually see, like just that quick, it haven't even been sitting in there that long, that all the film and all the stuff is coming up off the meat. So we're gonna let this sit for 15 minutes and we'll be back. All right, guys, we are back. So I just cleaned my candy yams, how I showed you in the video, by soaking them in steaming hot water. So now we're just gonna peel it so we can cut them up and make some candy yams. So once we start peeling, it's pretty much easy to peel once you soak them. It's not that hard to peel. Now I like to use the big knives. I've always used the big knives. So as you can see with my peelings, I'm actually peeling the skin. I'm not actually getting chunks and chunks of the candy yams under it. You know, that's candy yams you're throwing away. So today's topic is talking about how your life is split up in 4 quarters. Now, I got this, sadly to say, but I got this from my mother's eulogy. And the pastor that did my mother's eulogy was Henry Pryor from Redeemed Bethel Fellowship out in Williamson, New York, Route 104. He's a very good pastor. I was going to him when I was little. My aunt, she actually still attend his church. And when I was little, she used to take me and her kids as well. I used to have asthma real bad as a kid. And I tell you, I know that man is anointed because he is. He had prayed for me and I stopped having asthma when I was a kid. Sadly to say, once I got to be an adult, I started smoking. But thank you, Jesus, that I've never had any asthma symptoms where I had to use my inhaler 2 puffs twice a day. So I thank God for that. But getting back to the topic of how your life is split up into 4 quarters. So you at the quarter of your life, the first quarter, when you are a baby, newborn, toddler. Second quarter is when you're actually a teenager. Third quarter is when you're actually in your prime. And your 4th quarter is when you're a senior. Now, however you decide to split your 4 quarters up and serve God, it's up to you. I know I'm in my prime quarter. I'm at 75%. So the rest of that 25% that I got left, I'm going to be serving God all the way. See, people don't understand that we living in our last days. God has given us all the signs. We just have to be prepared and look at the signs and know the signs. See, the devil don't want us to know that we are in our last days. He's trying to collect as many souls as he can so you can be on his army. But I'm on God's army. You know, it's a lot of things that's happening that was in the Revelations chapter that people are not paying attention to. You know, we talk about these kids out here on these drugs, stealing cars, shooting and all that stuff. This is the generation of the lost and misguided. You know, there are parents out here that are trying to be their kid's friend instead of being a parent. I'm both. I'm my kid's friend and a parent, but a parent come first. So he also said that in our last days you won't be able to tell season from season except by the bud on the tree. Places that never seen snow before is gonna see snow. It's all here. And I know I can't sit up here and say a hypocrite. For Christmas morning was the first time I've been in a church in almost 3 years. So I work 7 days a week and I work hard, but that's no excuse for me not to serve God in his house. But I said, Lord, if I can't serve you on any day, I'm going to serve you on the day that Jesus was born. People have to understand that God sacrificed his son for our sins. I love my kids to death, my sons to death. And I constantly pray and ask God to forgive me. Because I don't know if I could sacrifice my kid. I don't know if I could sacrifice my son to save everybody else from their sins. So I'm going to finish peeling these and we'll be right back. All right, you guys, so we're back. So I actually went in ahead and peeled them off. So what I'm going to do is clean them once again without the skin. And that's about enough water. And we're just going to tip the water. After we get all the water drained off, now we're going to start cutting it. Okay. So we actually cleaned the thing. So now what I'm about to do is just start cutting them up. Cut them up into circles. Now, I don't like to do them too thin because once you finish putting them in there and they start boiling, they're going to shrink down in size anyway. That done. So once you start cutting them up in circles, we're actually going to season them and then we're going to put them in the oven. So to continue our conversation, he also said in the last days that the mother will lose the love of their children. For the past, I want to say 10 years, the mothers have definitely lost the love of their children. A lot of them killing them, leaving them due to drug addictions or for a man. You know, I sit back and I look at a lot of these young girls today and I be saying to myself, like, they are a damn fool. But everybody plays a fool sometimes. And I have definitely been there, done that, playing a fool for a guy, thinking that he's in love with me and my kids, and really, they all about self. But I've never went to as far as the stink as some of these girls are. You know, they sitting up here too busy chasing behind a guy, a blunt in a bottle, or listening to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Nothing against them. I love them as rappers. I'm a female myself. But sometimes the message that they're sending is not the correct message. You know, you guys should be rapping about or talking about how you got 5 kids at 27. Men are not cut like men were in the 70s and 80s, where they were willing to take an extra kid or extra 2 or 3 kids in to make a family. These days in time, these guys don't even want to take care of their kid, just let alone somebody else's kid. Who's gonna marry you when you got 5, 6, 7 kids? Just be realistic about it, you know? So we're actually gonna take some of this white sugar and we're gonna pour it all over. Now, it may seem like a lot, but it's actually not a lot. take some of this brown sugar. We're going to put it on top as well. And we're going to take some allspice. Now, it will be like a teaspoon of allspice, but like I said, I've been doing this so long, I can eyeball it. And we're going to take some nutmeg. And then we're actually going to take some cinnamon sugar. Just going to put it on there lightly. It seemed like a lot, but it's not. And then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring. Like I said, I've been doing this so long until I can spot it. What's 2 teaspoons? And then we're going to take some salt butter. And we're actually going to cut it up so we can place it all over. Alright. Now this salt butter actually give it that enriched total flavor. Alright, and then we're going to cover this up and we'll be back. Alright you guys, so you can see after it's been setting for 15 minutes, look for all the stuff that's floating up. So that's all the stuff that came off the pigtails and the smoked ham hocks. So we're actually just going to dump it. And we're going to rinse it again. Now after rinsing it, you can still see some of the film still left on there. So we're just going to keep rinsing it until it's nice and clear. Now I'm using a little bit of hot water. And it's nice and clear. Now it's time to put it in the pot of water and start seasoning it. So the ham hocks and the pigtails in a pot of boiling water. And then we're going to season it. Now since it is in the water, we're going to put just a little bit more of seasoning. So this is black pepper, my adobo, my complete. Now like I said, this may look like it's a lot, but it's not a lot because it's going to be seasoning for the beans as well. Excuse me, my secret recipe. And we're going to put the Goya ham seasoning over in here. And then we're going to actually stir it up. Okay, so we're going to stir it. Make sure all the seasonings are in here. I already have the eye on the stove on. And you can see by the water, it has like that nice dark broth look. That's enough seasoning. Alrighty, so we're going to put this on the stove. We're going to let this boil for about an hour and a half. And then we're going to throw the beans over in it. Okay? And we will see you guys in a minute. Back. So we got the pot and we got the meat boiled all the way, pretty much all the way through. So we're going to add the beans. Now cooking is all about taste. If it doesn't taste good to you, it's not going to taste good to nobody else. My mom always told me that. So we're just going to stir these in. Now I'm going to get a little bit of broth on my spoon. But before I do that, I'm actually going to pour some splinter in there. This is only 1/3 of a cup of Splinter, which is the yellow packets. I really love those. They taste a whole lot better, and you don't have to use as much as the white sugar. So we're going to stir that, and then I'm going to take my spoon, and I'm going to get a little broth, and I'm going to taste it. Okay, so tasting that, I'm just going to add a little bit more of this Goya ham. Okay, so that's all set. It's actually to my perfection. I can taste all the seasonings. I don't want it to be too salty, so we're just gonna leave it like that, and we're not gonna add anything else. So I will see you guys in another hour and a half when this is done.